Hi, thanks so much for joining me again here on the Traveling in Ireland podcast. We are live from Iowa Irish Fest. It's a little quiet right now. Mass just ended. I can hear some music warming up and tuning up outside, but we are in the nice air-conditioned Elks Club, and I am speaking with Ian Gould. Now, Ian is a musician who hails from Belfast. He's been traveling across the world for quite a few years, sharing Irish music and a lot of great information. Really, you're a very informational performer as well, which I think is really, really fun. So, Ian, thank you for joining me today.
It's very nice to be here, and it's very nice to be in the air conditioning. It is still a little bit clammy, but I would take that. The weather here has been spectacular. I'm sure you would agree.
Were you here last year?
Last year was last year.
Yeah, I mean, so hot, and we've had this amazing break. Like the Irish luck came in for this weekend, because leading up to this weekend, it was 95 degrees with 100% humidity for the last month. So it's like everything just lined up perfect for this weekend.
Yeah, people have been asking me the last few years, why do you look so fresh? And they're all covered in sweaty and stuff. I literally bring 3 or 4 black shirts for every single day that I'm here, and I change them frequently, and that's the secret.
That's the secret.
But I could have got away with a shoulder bag this year because I didn't have to bring nearly half as much clothing.
And the Iowa Irish Fest is just such a fun weekend. It's really
wonderful.
A nice little festival.
And I love the setting. I like the fact that it's downtown like this, and they close off the streets. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if the businesses suffer or if they gain from this, but you know, it's just great to have all the traffic condensed in one area. Foot traffic, should I say?
Yeah, it's such a nice little festival. So today we're actually going to talk about the Bodhrán, because I noticed that one of the things you were doing, in addition to playing on the stages this year, is you were doing a Bodhrán workshop. So the Bodhrán is really kind of the center, I don't know if I want to call it the centerpiece of Irish music, because I know people think, when they think Irish music, they obviously think about the fiddle. But the Bodhrán, I feel like it's definitely older. It's definitely something that you're going to see. So I would love to have you share maybe a little bit about the Bodhrán, what it is, and a little bit of history maybe of it, and just tell us about that.
Well, it's interesting that you would think the Bodhrán, it has been this, back into antiquity, has been a part of Irish music. Actually, it hasn't, and certainly not to be an integral part of the Irish ensemble, or as you say, the heartbeat of Irish music. The Bodhrán was only really brought into standardized ensemble in 1960s, 1970s.
Really?
Now we do see an old painting called Snap Apple Night from 1833, which is a depiction of a Halloween party, and there's a guy in the corner when we enlarged that part of the painting playing what looks like a Bodhrán, but it, really that came much later to Irish music.
But the instrument itself is quite old, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Well, drums in general, any culture has drums. And Bodhrán, there's different thoughts on where that comes from. I say Bodhrán, by the way, rhymes with moron. Right? That's how, if anybody asks, how do you pronounce that? Because you've got that, you know, the D in there with the little fiddle over the A. But the Bodhrán itself, it came in with the repopularization, I suppose, of folk music.
Okay.
And it became a standard part, really with the chieftains and things like that. And even then, you would have had Pater Mercier playing Bodhrán with the chieftains. If you listen back to that, not to say that it's rudimentary in any way, but it's definitely rustic. There's no real thought to tone. It's a wonderfully clattering sort of, almost abrasive instrument. Mixed in with the sweetness of the fiddle and everything else. So
it's interesting. So you would almost bring it into maybe a Celtic revival type of thing.
I would say so. But again, I think fiddles and things. When you go back into traditional Irish music, there's a lot of snobbery and very Puritan thinking. You know, the fiddles, they all had to play in unison, for example. You know, even the singing, everybody sang the same. There's no real harmonisation.
Really?
I spoke with Moya Brennan from Clonard,
Okay.
and she was saying that they when Clonard were first working on their sound at the pub in Donegal, that some of the older people in the pub were actually annoyed that they were harmonising.
Oh wow.
Because no. So,
Should all be standard. How interesting.
and I mean, I think a lot of traditional musics were like that. There was no real, and that's why they're traditional.
Right.
They sit within these boundaries. But the Bodhrán, I think there's even an Irish word that they translated and said that it meant dull. Now, whether that means the thud, I don't think they were suggesting that the drum was a boring instrument, and it's not. I mean, I did a workshop yesterday there up at the family stage, and really good turnout, and people are eager to come in and actually. Iowa Irish Fest is unique in the sense that it provides drums for people to try. There's no other. I do a lot of the festivals. No other festival is doing that. So people actually get to sit down with a drum, with a tipper, and play the instrument instead of. I know some of them were using pizza boxes and pencils or whatever.
Gives that echo sound. Well, so the Bodhrán is obviously it's a very popular gift when people visit Ireland. It's very easy to bring back. A little less offensive than the tin whistle, especially if you're bringing back a gift for the grandkids.
It depends what time of the morning you're getting it, right?
So it's something that I think a lot of people are familiar with in that way. Is there anything that would be interesting to know regarding maybe the decoration on them or
the decoration
like that?
the decoration would be secondary. I mean, obviously some craftsmen like to decorate the wood, and certainly choosing beautiful looking woods for this. But I mean, if you're looking for a good strong Bodhrán, you'd be looking for woods like ash or oak, because they're easier to bend and they hold their structure better. If you look at a Bodhrán, maybe, and I dare to say this, forgive me if I'm wrong, or if you own one of these Bodhráns that has a cross brace, that was more because the drum wasn't made quite as well, or the wood wasn't quite as strong, and you needed that to support the drum. The drum that I have here, made by Mike Quinlan, a Chicago builder, there's no cross brace in that at all because it doesn't need it.
Because it's of the strength of the wood. Interesting.
And ash is featured in Irish folklore and everything else, and obviously the ash is the wood that they would use to make their hurling sticks and things like that as well.
Interesting. So fascinating. So what would you say if somebody were to, let's talk about Irish music. Maybe we're going to go off the Bodhrán a little bit, and just Irish music in general right now, because you have here at Irish Fest, you have the trad stage where we saw you last night. You have bands that are a little more contemporary. Let's think of the Screaming Orphans, maybe. Gaelic Storm is another one, very contemporary Irish band that people really enjoy. So what would be the difference maybe between trad music and these more popular, or not popular, but these more contemporary type of bands?
Well, I think trad music, when you would consider trad music, you could break that down into how the music is structured. Certainly if you have singers in, trad music would be balladeering, or going back even further, Sean Nose, which would be the old style of singing, which hadn't any accompaniment at all. Right. That would have been just the voice. Back to that idea, you want to chirp in and harmonise and go, shh, hey, no. A lot of the bands, if you're thinking of trad music, would be fiddle. I'm trying to think of the fiddle today, and again since the middle of the 20th century, the Bodhrán. In Scotland, you would have the more so leaning into Irish music would be whistles and fiddles. Scottish music would be more accordion and pipes.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that's the differentiation. So you would get these core instruments, and then you would build the other sound around it. So I think it's the core instruments that make it traditional.
Okay.
And then Gaelic Storm are adding in, even though they have those traditional instruments, obviously they're blending Scottish with the bagpipes coming in. The Screaming Orphans there, I mean, they're multi-instrumentalists.
Right.
But they're from a background of, their family, I think, had a show band type of thing, and they were entertainers from Bodhrán in southern Donegal, and that was a big hub for tourism. So they would have had that. Those four wonderful ladies were influenced by their family and their environment. So even though they're Irish and their music can be Irish, obviously it's not traditional.
So your traditional music would focus on the more traditional instruments and sounds, and then the more contemporary Irish bands would begin maybe with that core, but build
and expand
out from
upon
that.
it. And that's why you always see, and again with Gaelic Storm, it's interesting, and I don't really know why, but a lot of these bands they always have a female fiddle player.
And I've actually asked about that, and it's something, what I've been told, and whether or not this is true, something with the nimbleness of the fingers.
Oh,
is what
makes sense.
Is what I've been told.
Yeah.
So that's just what I've been told. It's a lot of fun.
And you know the parts and everything. You know that the skin is the drum head is actually goat skin.
I didn't know if it was goat or sheep.
No, it's goat, and goat is pretty standardized, and even through Bodhrán is a derivative of the word tambourine.
Okay.
Bodhrán, and those, and that obviously then takes us into the Middle East, where goats are plentiful.
Okay.
So it was an easy source of the skin. But and cows, you're getting into some of the religious side of things. The further you go, they wouldn't have used cows, so they wouldn't have had that skin at their disposal. So the goat was the obvious choice, and it has more of a consistency. It's a little more pliable than cowhide.
Yeah, not quite as thick. I
So you
suppose.
get that, you can manipulate it to get the different sounds and different notes out of the instrument.
Interesting. You want to play it just a little bit for me? Just a tiny bit, just to give a little sound, and then.
So we don't annoy anybody.
No, we're not going to bother anybody.
The humidity plays with us terribly.
Oh, I imagine.
So we can get a foothold here. Dig dung 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 dung. Dung 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 dung. Dig dig dung dung. Dig dig dung dung.
That's so interesting, because when you hear it alone, you can hear you have the brush on the end, and you can really hear that brush sound with
swish.
it.
Swish. Yeah, and I mean, there's obviously what they would call like hot rod, which is a cluster of little, almost like bamboo skewers, and they cluster those together, and you get more of a snap. We went to watch the wonderful Jocelyn Fournel from Doulin, the French traditional Irish band. Absolutely phenomenal, and he was doing all sort of wizardry. Yesterday he did a demo, not so much a workshop, but a demo up on that family stage as well. I just wanted to take my Bodhrán and go and set fire to it. But he had all sorts of toys there, different, even had like regular like household paint brushes that he was using for just to get these different tones. And again, you know,
so fascinating.
And then with the brush, as you're saying.
Yeah, that brush just gives it such a different sound. So interesting. Well, Ian, before we go, I know that you are you hosting a music tour this fall in Ireland?
Yeah, I work with a good friend of mine, a fellow called Paul Ward, and we have a small boutique travel company called G&W Irish Tours. You can find that at gwirishtours.com. And we, I wouldn't say we host, we gather up interested people who, you know, like-minded people who want to travel to Ireland. From my gigs that I do around the place, I carry my own advertising. My partner Paul, he is he's been in hospitality for a long time. He works in various pubs in the Milwaukee area, and between the two of us, we talk about our tours, and then 3 or 4 times a year we gather them all up and we set sail to Ireland and Scotland.
Fun. So I know you have one going this autumn, am I correct?
We still have one. We still have a couple of places left on our foodie tour,
fun.
which is heading out on the 1st of September. If somebody wanted to jump in there quickly, you certainly can. Again, if you look at the GW Irish Tours website, And that what we do is we chop the island up into smaller parts. I despair when I hear people saying, "We're going to Ireland." I'm going, "Where are you going?" All
Everywhere.
over. It's like, "How long have you got?" "A week."
You're preaching to my choir
Indeed,
right
I'm sure
here.
your
They
feet
hear it from me all the time.
Your feet never touch the ground, and you don't get to absorb anything. Do you get to see Ireland? Yes, you do, as you're moving past it. You might as well just look at pictures on the internet.
And then you have a music tour following that?
That's coming up in April.
April next year.
Yes,
okay.
so April next year. I don't know the exact dates off my head. And then we will be going to Scotland in May.
Okay.
And then we will be going to the province of Ulster in June.
Lovely.
And we call that the Nine to the North. And that'll be taking you up to my hometown of Belfast.
Perfect. If you would like more information on those tours, you'll find that link in the show notes. So if you can't travel to Ireland with me, definitely check out what Ian has going on. It may just fit into your schedule, and I can guarantee you that they're nice tours. I've looked at them, fully approved.
Thank you.
So Ian, thank you so much. I know that you have a presentation going on here shortly, so I really appreciate you taking the time and chatting with me today.
Thank you so much, Jody.